What's up, guys? It's Simon Says, and I'm here with the Crypto Cobras. We're getting into these technicals right now. So yesterday for episode 17, can bulls hold the weekly support and break the daily falling wedge? This is where we were yesterday. Ranging right on this blue line, 4 hour, couldn't make a lower low, right? So pretty much we did break out of this, and anticipation is key. So let's just get right into the charts. We're coming off the FOMC meeting right now. We're just watching that a little bit earlier in our Discord. So there's a lot of volatility in the markets. So we're gonna start with the DXY. 2 hours ago, meeting started, an hour ago. So we'll probably even put this back. We can see that this volatility came in the last hour, right on top of the meeting. So these key economic dates, and every first Wednesday, we get this FOC meeting every first Wednesday of the month, right? So pretty much Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, the DXY, we hit the 80. 80 is a strong resistance, oversold on the daily. We hit it. We also had these four kind of even candles being wicks and bodies, and then consolidation breakout to the downside has come. Not really too much to see here, as the DXY has been on a tangent from 97, just bullish. If we do the fib from here, we can see this retracement. We haven't even reached the 236 area yet. And that would be an area to see if the bulls could hold some strength after this meeting. If we look at the weekly, where we're getting our zone from, we can see that this was the last high. We've actually broken all the highs on the weekly chart for this period. Before, I'm not really sure where we're at. We might have broke this. Let's take a look real quick. So the last time we broke this was in 2002, 2001. USA was one of the stronger powerhouses. But time evolves. Technology is here now. It's a new kind of industry that we're going into and getting into. Not so much. I believe it was the Industrial Revolution that really set America ahead. This is more, the technology revolution that we're in now. And Elon Musk is based in the U.S., so we have some strong components. But this dollar, this is since 2016 pretty much. We haven't had a close, right? The close was here at the top. This was the highest we've been, 102. We finally got a close above that at 103. That's not a wick. So that's very, very interesting, because when we see the dollar strong, we see a lot of assets like, we'll say the gold, or we'll say Bitcoin, or the indices like US 30, NAS 100. They'll be weaker in the market when there's a stronger dollar, right? So we could pretty much see that with that dip that pretty much just happened on the DXY, the bulls have taken advantage of that, and we're actually testing oversold again. We do have slight divergences, right? We still haven't closed above this top. This is on the 45-minute, but let me get to a different chart. We can start with this one. The notes here, right? We have the 4-hour doji that came in. It's kind of hard to see, but let me see. This 4-hour doji, it's a small body, so you can't really see it, but the wick is here, and the downside wick is here. We swept the low, swept this area. So the only area that your stop loss on entry was good was kind of maybe like 20.20% of a move. So that's how the market really acts. So we just use this wick as a support, about 0.41 percentage of the downside wick. So you're only in that move if you had a limit order. anytime on this, if you bought this move, we're like buying from here, the only time we came right back to your entry, stopped you out, and then the move actually came through. We've been actually selling. So when we broke this wedge, right, broke this rising wedge, I'm sorry, and we actually came down to test the lows. This was, a great point if we go down to, like, let's say the hourly chart. So 4 hours equal 1 hour. I mean, hourly candles equal 1 4-hour candle. So if we look at the doji probably formed right here, started here, first hour, second hour, third hour indecision, and then we came down, and this was pretty much equal to this candle close. So that's where the doji comes in. And then notice how we have a doji on the upside on the hourly. We came down, we just couldn't engulf, this bullish candle. Came down on the downside again, had another indecision, and this is actually a butterfly doji on the hourly. And what is to note, remember we were playing with the hourly RSI in the last stream. That double bottom came in and actually held above oversold. And that's what we're looking for the bullish impulse. It was just, I was a little bit too bearish yesterday. A little bit too bearish. Thought we were below this weekly trend line, right? Remember the one that we were slicing like butter? We came below it, and then we actually ended up flipping it back as a support. We had a doji candle above here. And now let's get into, you see this like lower time frame symmetrical triangle. This is, how we played the reversal. We came down, we had the dump, and we put our fib on it, right? Bitcoin could do what it wants right now. I'm not really too worried, but we're going to look at immediate price action in a second. We're just going over yesterday. So we came down, and pretty much we said, okay, from the wedge where we broke resistance, tested as support, to the bottom, we pretty much were, testing this 382 level, trying to stay above it. It was rejected hard. And then you see the little battle at the 0.50, but through there, it was just, it was a lot of bullish momentum. So look what happened. If we're looking at, this ascending triangle, and it was on the 5 minute. You can see that even on the lower time frames, because we were mapping it as soon as this drop happened, right? So as soon as we got this wick came in, we made this kind of trend line in, and it was kind of the midline in this base. If we extend it, we can see that still a strong trend line. Once we held above here, we were able to continue the pump. So that on the 5 minute chart, the lines are going to be a little bit steeper, but they still hold, some value. So when we had the dip, we came straight up and we tested the 0.382 level, right? And then we rejected hard, and we came straight through. When we flipped these, ascending trend lines, notice how we were below it. We were holding as resistance. When we kind of flipped it again, we just ended up holding more of an ascending triangle. So if we extended this, we had more, there was more structure on the chart. So now we're holding a higher low. Yeah, we made our higher high. We started making lower lows, but we held, this was a higher low to this lowest low. And then we, broke, made a higher high, held it as support, and then we're able to continue. Just flip this trend line, which is, a symmetrical triangle. And sometimes when you get a symmetrical triangle, there is no fake out breakout. It's just continuation when you're, trending. As well as we have to remember when we were down there yesterday, we're still, beneath the larger time frame falling wedge, right? The daily falling wedge. So we've been pinching in this wedge for days, almost weeks. Now we get a break of it. This is when volume can come into the market and enter. So now we're pretty much going for these highs, right? This is the next high. This candle hasn't closed yet, 42 minutes in. It's gonna be a hell of a close. Looking to take out this high, but for now, this is still, a lower high. Go down to 3 hours, see what we see. So 3 hours high is a little bit higher even, but let's just measure the straight macro from our next zone, right? Our weekly resistance. We haven't been here for a while, so we note that our weekly support, I believe it's this green line, but I'm not sure why it's not marked out. We'll find that in a second. If we look from this weekly, high that we made as we've been making lower lows to our lowest low, which would be this one, right? I'm gonna extend it. Going back to this 0.50 retracement level. This 0.50 retracement level is pretty strong. We see now that we have, a strong resistance as well at the 618 with this price action or market structure as well. But that's from the top of the trend. So this is, what the bulls are still battling to beat. And if we go to a clean chart, go to a nice FTX, deserves some love. That's a good, exchange on crypto. Let's do a fresh clean markup starting from the daily. We know we just broke that wedge, so I'm not gonna really try to mark that out. Now we just extend, right? We extend and we see what we have. This is the furthest point in the daily. Like, yes, we could still go and break because, this candle isn't closed yet. So I really shouldn't use that one. But there's no other resistance. The only other resistances we have are horizontal resistances. Now we could, move down the chart like that. So you would pick your levels. And with this 4-hour close coming in, if this is, a stronger 4-hour close, I'm just gonna leave this as, our channel for right now. This one I'm still gonna leave kind of like the falling wedge support. And this is why it's so important. Like on the daily, look at note how we held right below the 40. We had that. If we just move these RSIs that were on, maybe a lower time frame, we had the head come in. The left shoulder come in, the head, and then when this right shoulder comes in and it can't, break the head or even break the left shoulder, we have a nice pump right above the 40. So it's right where the bulls want to hold, our key level. And then we just look at, daily price action on a nice clean chart. Nice doji here. Bullish candle couldn't engulf this bearish candle. Doji close, right? Still didn't, get above this black candle. Wick for the day. Daily comes down, tries to, engulf this bullish candle. Can't engulf the bullish candle. Nice breakout. Can daily close above this high? That's what we're trying to see for today. The first chart is a little bit more advanced, but trading can be simple. You just have to know like your key levels. A lot of the extra stuff is confirmations. But market structure is key. Let's look at the 4-hour. Note how the 4-hour is now passing the 60 RSI. Note how it's broken, this horizontal level, which is like right around the 60. But price action hasn't broke there yet. So now with this wick here, I'd extend it because if we can't close above that high in the next 38 minutes, then that will be the for sure candle close. I don't know how I like this trend line yet, but so we're gonna give this, resistance some room, and we're gonna make our bearish pattern. So green falling wedge, daily. We've had a breakout of a tighter trend line. We had the breakout of this trend line. But we still see that there can be some resistances as there's horizontal levels of interest and confluence. One main one would be here. Start to box in our zone. Try to get 3 touches, you know.
What am I afraid of? What the fuck?
A wick or a body signifies a strong point.
Fuck it, I want to give it a shot, and at least I'm honest with you. I'm not honest with you? No, what about your 12 brothers?
How here was a key support resistance flip. Once we got below, we're staying below, holding as support, dip below. Oof. 4 hour 4 hour, you know, head and shoulders was nice as well to see this pump coming. Holding right around the 40. That's lovely. So that was the wedge we broke. This is, you know, expanded wedge. But, you know, our utmost resistance right now would be kind of like this trend line. Let's see if we extend it left real quick. We see how, you know, still solid support touches, right? Support resistance areas on the chart. So this is, you know, the resistance I'm looking at now. And also, I'd be looking at something like this being a descending triangle. So just monitoring, you know, our key now 4 hour support and our like, this would be our 4 hour, this would be more like a daily support. So I'm actually gonna put one more line right here. Now you could put these horizontal lines at every single point and it'll hit, but you know, kind of having your key levels is where, you know, you want to put your key trend lines, and you just get better at it from doing it more. Go down to 2 hour. What's the 2 hours telling us? Already oversold, right? We're breaking oversold. Is this pump really going to be the pump of, you know, the ages? Is DXY really, you know, going to have some downside, like some strong downside after being so bullish? DXY is, you know, coming down to test some of its kind of divergences, you could say. Because that's all this really is, right? Like a divergence. We have, you know, the obvious lows on the price action being down here. Now price action is here, and the RSI is equal to it. So that's there. 2 hour, 1 hour. 1 hour is oversold again. Have we broken this top? Is that like a clean breakout, or are we gonna, you know, find some resistance coming up here? We're gonna close this hour with like a a tombstone doji. You know, sometimes we have to be cautious that these FOMC meetings, they pump the market just to dump the market, right? We're looking at the pump. Let's see how much percentage we could have had. The dip came in, you know, wick to the supports. If you're, you know, long from here, just getting in the move, you didn't catch the main, you know, move down here, you'd have been stopped out after, you know, holding your trade for 4 hours. So we have to be ready to take our profits on our trades and such. So about a 3% move in the last hour, which is major, very major. One thing as well on the weekly, I was like kind of playing around with is, you know, our smiley face that we had. So to hold this, I don't know, like this kind of like cup formation that we're seeing here, this trend line still looks very steep. Like if we were to stay close to this trend line, we would inevitably fall through. We would have to rally, I would feel like, on a daily time frame. we have that support, but we also have one more that kind of like a little bit more that could show some emphasis. So another symmetrical triangle is at play, right? And that's the resistance we have associated, descending triangle, but also symmetrical triangle. So being able to, see more than one chart pattern is going to be crucial. There's always multiple things. You have to have a bullish and a bearish case. So now the bullish case is that we break this green trend line again. We test this resistance, and then we flip it, and we start, maybe we could even come down, trend down for a little bit, retest some of those, and use this as a support to get through this next channel, 40,700. And besides that, how we looking on time? We right on time. Let's go down to the really low time frames. So note the doji that came in, the indecision. Then we had, another doji. Note that doji that came in was actually more of a butterfly doji, a small upside wick. Didn't really test the upside again. Then the next candle that came in, quick little wick to the downside again, holding above the 50 RSI. Weren't able to break the 50 RSI, and then we took off. I would be curious to see, since RSI, the 15-minute wasn't able to break this peak we made on this high, as we're still making, higher highs on the price action. And then, we have a lower high on the RSI. I'd like to see if we have a double top form. We see this kind of first peak came. Maybe we come down and then coil up, have one more pump to red resistance, have a double top form below the 80 RSI, and you could take a short. On the other hand, this is not really a doji, but indecision candle. 30-minute close. Close came right below the green resistance. So note that it's still below on a 30-minute close. 15-minute just escaped for a little bit. 45 is same thing. And then, the hourly candles close come in 30 minutes. So there still probably will be some volatility. Will this candle, be able to pass this green line and maybe hold as a support, or does this candle shrink some and then show that now this wick, and maybe this is a smaller candle, we have indecision, maybe we test this green resistance again and then come down. We'll see. Being oversold, hourly's just getting oversold. It hasn't been oversold in a while. It could really have some momentum here. Hasn't been very oversold since 48K. So we haven't had a really good pump since about then. Note how the start of the pump, in this case, let's say notice here when we started first making higher highs on the RSI, when we hit, oversold, that was, our top that we had to break. When we first hit it, we came down hard, we reset, went sideways, but as we're going sideways, we're holding that 50 RSI. And then we have, our dip, or pretty much our bullish divergence on the hourly chart above the 40, and then we pump again. We go sideways again. We come almost down to the price action lows of here, but the RSI is, reset pretty much oversold right here, and then we continue up again for another leg. So that's kind of, you know, everything retraces, and it's good to, you know, back test some of these. If we were just to back test all of, you know, these pumps, we just go from like the lows. So this was a low to the high. This one retraced to about the 786 one time. How about the 618? Cool. And then we'll go to like this high from this low. This one came to the 0.50 area and then continued and then broke structure, right? So you could just do this up and down your chart, see how the percentages on your fib work. Excuse me. And yeah, this one, you know, you see how this one, once we pumped all the way up here, we just held the 236. If we went from like this pump, 236 again. So there's different kind of, you know, time frames to monitor. Notice how like from this low, we continue to make higher highs. So we really reached up here from that low. And then notice how when we retraced, it came down to this low 618 area. This was, you know, the first pump that broke a major trend line. So that's why it had a pretty significant reaction. We retraced all the way to 236. We held this resistance. And then this fib is valid until it breaks the fib, right? Held under the 618. Started testing the 786. 618 still has resistance. Fell through. This fib is broken. Then you get into these levels, like how far is it retracing and stuff, but I'm not really into that yet, I should say. That's about it, guys, for today. And let's watch this hourly close. See how this 15-minute indecision candle wants to sit, right? Very bullish, very bullish. If we wanted to see a smaller time frame, we have the larger time frame, like descending triangle, but we could also maybe put something like let's do it on 30-minute. Yeah, I don't like it. The price action right here is too steep for it. Well, where there's a will, there's a way, right? That looks pretty solid. We see this is, you know, the kind of steeper trend line we're holding. Once we kind of wick below it, we held, you know, lots of support from this area, these highs, and then we continued. Now we're just pinching, right? We're getting towards like pretty much this like descending triangle resistance, and we also have like a support right here, and then we have, you know, these intersecting trend lines that are going to come into play. Maybe we just go sideways and then we have a move up or a move down, but wait for consolidation to enter, and you know, you'll get the latest updates right here on the Discord. You go to our yacht. Yeah, guys, that's about it. Market is moving kind of nice.
Cool. I guess we'll roll into the education in a second.